I stood on the front steps with my suitcase beside me, while my mother shouted from the doorway, her voice sharp and final. "You've got until noon, Alina. I don't care what you think you paid. This is my house, and I want you gone." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I didn't beg like I used to. I just smiled faintly and looked down at the envelope resting in my hand. She had no idea what was inside it, no idea that the power dynamic she thought she controlled had quietly shifted months ago, and by the time she understood the truth, there would be no way to undo it. My name is Alina. I'm 27 years old, and for most of my life, I believed that being a good daughter meant enduring whatever was asked of me without complaint. I work as an insurance claims analyst. It's not flashy. No one brags about it at dinner parties, but it's steady, detail-oriented work, and I'm good at it. I like systems. I like numbers. I like knowing where things stand. I grew up in a small, aging house with just my mother. My father left when I was 7. One day he was there, the next day he wasn't, and we never really talked about it again. My mom hardened after that. She wasn't cruel in obvious ways. She was just distant, emotionally unavailable. Praise didn't come easily, neither did affection. She compared me constantly to my cousins, to her coworkers' kids, to strangers' children she'd heard about secondhand. So-and-so's daughter already bought a house. My friend's son makes 6 figures. Why can't you be more like them? I learned early that approval was conditional, and even then, rare. I wasn't the golden child. I wasn't the charming one, but I was dependable. I showed up. I handled problems. I didn't disappear when things got hard. After college, I planned to move out immediately. I even had an apartment lined up. But life had other plans. My mom's financial situation collapsed almost overnight. Medical bills from an old surgery, credit cards maxed out, late fees piling up. The phone rang constantly with debt collectors. Letters arrived stamped in red ink. One night, she sat at the kitchen table with a stack of unopened envelopes, her hands shaking. "I can't do this," she said, voice breaking. "I'm going to lose the house." The bank had already sent a foreclosure notice. She was months behind on the mortgage. "Just stay for a little while," she begged. "Help me get back on my feet, please." So I stayed. I told myself it was temporary, that family helps family, that this was what good daughters did. I took over payments, mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, her car loan, nearly everything. I didn't make a big show of it. I just handled it. I'm the kind of person who keeps records, not because I'm suspicious, but because organization makes me feel safe. I tracked every payment, saved every receipt, and kept copies of every transfer. At the time, I thought I was just being responsible. I had no idea how important that habit would become. At first, things improved. The calls stopped, the stress in the house eased. My mom slept better. She stopped crying. Then something changed. She started going out more, buying things we didn't need, redecorating rooms I was paying for. One afternoon, I came home and found a brand new couch being delivered. Another day, a massive flat-screen TV appeared in the living room. "Can we afford this?" I asked carefully. She looked at me with irritation. "It's my house. I'll do what I want." That sentence stayed with me. My house. The gratitude never came. Instead, embarrassment replaced it. When her friends visited, she downplayed my role. One evening, I walked in carrying groceries I'd paid for, and one of her friends asked, "Oh, is this your daughter, still living at home?" My mom laughed. "Yeah, she's kind of just hanging around while she figures things out." I stood there, invisible, holding bags of food she would eat later. That was the moment I realized something painful. No matter how much I gave, I would never be seen as a contributor, only as a convenience. Things continued to deteriorate slowly. My aunt visited one night and ordered takeout for herself and my mom. When I came downstairs, my mom shrugged. "We didn't think you'd want any." I ate alone in my room, listening to their laughter downstairs. Then she started dating again. His name was Trevor. Loud, arrogant, the kind of man who filled every room with his opinions. He made jokes at my expense constantly, about my job, my age, my presence. One night at dinner, after I had cooked and paid for the groceries, he leaned back and said, "So, when are you finally moving out? Still living off mommy?" My mom laughed. Something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, but decisively. "I'm actually paying the mortgage, so technically she's living off me." The room went silent. Trevor stopped smiling. My mom's face hardened. Later that night, she cornered me in the kitchen. "You embarrassed me," she said coldly. "Don't ever do that again." I didn't argue. I didn't apologize. I just nodded and walked away. After that, she began asking me for small loans, a couple hundred here, a few hundred there. She always promised to pay me back. She never did. One afternoon, I came home early and heard her on the phone. "She's still here. Honestly, it's kind of perfect. She pays for most things and doesn't complain." I stood frozen in the hallway, heart sinking. I wasn't her daughter. I was her safety net, her ATM. From that moment on, I stopped hoping she'd change. I kept paying what I had committed to, but I also started protecting myself, quietly, carefully. What my mom didn't know was that when she missed several mortgage payments the year before, the bank had contacted me directly. I was listed as an authorized contact because I'd helped her set up autopay long ago. They told me foreclosure was imminent. I worked with them. I negotiated. I paid a lump sum using my savings and a small inheritance from my grandmother. The loan restructure required a financially responsible cosigner. My name was added to the deed. My mom signed everything without reading it. She trusted that I handled it. I kept copies. Eventually, things escalated. Trevor started staying over constantly. One day, I came home to find him in my bedroom going through my closet. "You don't make the rules here," my mom said when I confronted her. "If you don't like it, you can leave." A week later, she told me to move out, calmly, coldly, as if she were doing me a favor. I agreed without protest. Moving day came. I had already moved most of my things, just one suitcase left. My mom told me to leave my key. I smiled and placed the envelope on the table instead. Inside was the deed. "I'm a co-owner," I said quietly. "You can't kick me out of a house I legally own." Her face drained of color. "I'm leaving anyway," I added, "but not because you told me to, because I choose to." I walked out lighter than I'd ever felt. I didn't take the house. I didn't want it. I just wanted my dignity back. Months later, I signed my share back to her through a lawyer, with repayment terms. She agreed. I live in my own apartment now. It's small, quiet, mine. I learned that love isn't measured by how much you sacrifice. Sometimes it's measured by when you finally stop. And walking away didn't break me. It set me free.